Happening, folks? How you doing? Jamie here. Going for a little bit of a stroll around my local gardens. Man, my hair is out of whack. Look at that. Crazy. Um, Wanted to drop a couple of thoughts to help you guys out if you're a business owner of any kind. And it's going to be a two-parter. First part is, oh, earbud's about to fall out. First part is in relation to mindset. And can't stand it. There we go. I'm not that narcissistic usually, but today I am. Hair's got to be perfect. Usually don't give a fuck. Kidding. Anyways, so first things first, mindset. Today I had a bit of a battle on my hands with some technology, and also a little bit of a run-in with someone who's trying to rip me off at the moment, and I was in a little bit of a negative mindset for a moment, and was chatting to my wife about it, and we basically were thinking about it. Man, it's so frustrating. Like, you have this happen, you have that happen, you have an account shut down, you have people ripping off your intellectual property, they rip you off financially. They don't pay you when they say you're going to pay. You compete and they go with someone else, or they you leave these snarky little comments on your posts, or they abuse you in some way. They find your email address and start sending you nasty things. All sorts of things happen. um, yeah, crazy stuff. Lots and lots of crazy stuff. Should write a book about it one day. Anyway, so I was going through a moment earlier, and yeah, basically, my wife and I were chatting about it, and she helped me put something into perspective, which usually it's the other way around. I'm helping her put things into perspective, but it was her lesson for me today. And the lesson was really simple, that, yeah, what we do is frustrating. What we do is hard. What we do has its ups and downs and its stresses. But at the same time, we just spent 2 nights away midweek. This beautiful accommodation, ate beautiful food, had great chats, great time away. We drove around, looked at some awesome sites, took some photos, yada, 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 right? Typical weekend getaway, but we did it midweek. And the perspective was that we work really hard, we take the risks, we do the things, we absorb the abuse from trolls and folks and all that type of stuff. And we work out technology and all its nuances to live a life we truly desire. And when we compare that to being stuck in a normal 9 to 5, which, for the record, I'd like to say there is nothing wrong with having a job, ever, by the way. I think a lot of people online, they shun it. Like, oh, jobs are shit. No, they're not. They are a vital part of society. And I think also a vital part of human growth, right? Like, I think some folks will step out of high school and then develop something and become business owners right from a very young age. But I think those are the outliers. I think most people need to go through work to know what they don't like, what they don't want to do, in order to then start to create the life that they truly want. So that's it. That was number one. Basically, to put things into perspective. And anytime you're feeling down, just think about, it could be worse, right? It's always good to think of that. And I don't mean putting a negative slant into things, like thinking about negative stuff. I'm just thinking to yourself, I should say, that life could always get worse. Could always get worse. And whatever season you're in at the moment, if it's a dark one, it's not looking great, it will get better. It always fucking does. Always, always, always does. So just keep that in mind. And if you're not quite where you want to be, there's something that I learned from a book, 10x is easier than 2x, from Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. And they talk about, they reference another book that they have, called The Gap in the Gain. And so the way to measure where you're at in life is not by how far you have to go towards your goal. It is by how far you've come to get to where you are right now. And so that little perspective shift for me has been a really big one. And it's something that I remind myself of all the time. Am I living in the gap or the gain? Because if I'm living in the gain, I'm reflecting back on how far I've come, how much I've grown, how much I've matured, not where I would want to be and how far away I am from hitting that, if you know what I mean. Because if I do that, then I'm starting to create a distance between me and my goal. as opposed to going, damn it, I'm here and I've made it this far and it's been a freaking journey and a half. And I'm really proud that I made it. Right. So that's number one. Bit of a mindset thing for you guys. Number two is I'll never say that business is easy, but it can be really simple. It can be really, really simple. And what I mean by that is if we look at business from an overarching basis, every single business, and challenge me on that. If I'm wrong, I'll accept that. Drop a comment, let me know on this one. But pretty much all of them fall into four main buckets, right? So you have to have something that solves a problem for people, right? It needs to be, I'm about to get rained on, something chronic. Cool. Something that solves a problem for people, number one. If you don't have a good offer that solves problems for people, doesn't matter how good your marketing is, eventually it's going to go to zero because people will stop buying it once word spreads that it's shit, right? So have to have something that solves a problem for people, and it has to be a painkiller, not a vitamin, right? A vitamin is nice to have. It's something that ideally over time will improve your health, allegedly. No MD on that one, but a painkiller will alleviate your pain now. So if you can create something that is a painkiller, not a vitamin, then you're going to have pillar number one taken care of, or bucket number one. You need to have an audience, right? If you don't have an audience, if you don't have people that you can get in front of with your offer, doesn't matter, right? You've got nothing. Basically, you need to have some form of audience, whether that is, building a personal brand or just going into, calling up getting on the old blower and making cold calls or advertising in whatever form or whatever it is for you. You're going to have some form of audience, even if it's door knocking, canvassing, right? Still going to have an audience. So number two is audience. You need to have a method to turn lookers into loot, right? So people into customers. How are you converting people? Is it via phone calls? Absolutely nothing wrong with them, by the way. Is it via Zoom? Is it via presentations? Is it via, like I do, which is pretty much just via Google Doc and a couple of DMs back and forth? Whatever it is for you, how are you converting those folks? And I would strongly encourage you to get good at one before moving on, right? It's a big mistake I see a lot of your entrepreneurs make, is that they will be a bit wishy-washy with their approach. And with experience, with time, yeah, you can start to try different things, but go all in on one and become a master of it before you then go to the next one, right? I would still argue that getting on a call is probably going to be the easiest way for people to start making sales, because you can build that trust, which I know defies logic, because here I am talking about closing with a Google Doc, but it is an ascension, right? You ascend beyond doing that at some point, and you can do whatever the heck you want. That was the choice I made. I just decided I don't want to be spending my time loading up my calendar to grow. I want to do it in a different way. Right. So that's number three. And number four is what have I got now? Offer. Maybe it is only three. Offer. Oh no, one more thing. Yeah. So something that an offer that solves pain for people. Number one. A method of conversion, number two, and sorry, audience, number two, and a method of conversion. Right. Now, the thing that underpins all of that is you need to have the right type of mindset. Okay. You need to see in your mind the results before they show up. You need to be consistent with that. You need to be consistent with your actions as well as your own psychology, right? We all have down days. We'll dip at times. We'll have certain things pop up that irk us or whatever. But the trick is to keep going in spite of all that. And as you grow as a human being, as you grow as an entrepreneur, then you ascend, you expand your consciousness into allowing those cool things to arrive. And the trick is holding on to that belief and that sense of belief when things aren't going the way that they should. But I can assure you that if you concentrate on those three main buckets there, your offer, get that just hummed and hard and dialed in, right? Even if it's an MVO, minimum viable offer, just get something out there, put it in front of folks, see if it converts. If it doesn't, get feedback, reiterate, go back again, bang, right? Get an audience, just keep building that every day, bang, 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 bang. Whether that's organic or paid ads or whatever your acquisition channel is, that's absolutely fine. And nail a conversion method. It can be anything, doesn't matter what it is, just nail one and then move on, right? With the tenure I've had in this game, I've tried a lot of them, methods of conversion, especially for high ticket stuff. and they all work, right? Like everything works as long as you stick with it and focus on it and just keep at it. I think that's a big key right there. So big four again: number one, offer, audience, conversion mechanism, and get your mindset dialed in. Keep working on it, because once you do, you start on this path of personal growth, and it is really, really incredible what you uncover. Anyway, guys, my throat is getting all croaky and cranky, and it's about to rain, so I'm going to head off. But drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Cheers.